Hi everyone, I'm Anna McDougall and today I'm going to run you through my top 4 tips for how to prepare to get a job in programming. This is aimed at people who are maybe 6 months to a year away from applying. Yeah, maybe you're just starting your programming journey and you're thinking, what can I do to put myself in good stead when the time comes? Well, never fear. I'm here. We're going to go through 4 tips that are going to make you a better programmer and hopefully also a better person. So let's get stuck into it. For those who maybe are past this point and are looking at starting to apply right now, there is a video coming for you soon. Hang tight. We will get there. But for now, let's get stuck into our first tip. Now, my first tip is about how you learn. So while you're learning to code, be it in a boot camp or self-taught or in a degree or some other structured course, my advice is to focus on getting things working. Don't try to get things absolutely perfect. Don't try to have a super deep understanding of everything, especially in the early stages. The most important thing at the beginning is just to get your head around the general concepts, what's going on generally, how you can achieve things generally, and then later on, once you actually understand the basics, that's when it's a great time to do a deep dive and start understanding topics in depth. This is a very common problem. A lot of people who are learning really want to understand the why of everything. Programming is a huge area of study. You could get so caught up on the why of everything that you never actually learn how to program. The most important thing to develop at this stage are practical skills, and that comes with practice and it comes with just getting things up and running. So I would say don't get too caught up on the details. Don't try to be too clever with things. Don't try to do things in the trickiest way possible or don't try to get everything done in one line just because you want to see if you can. These could be fun things for you, but if they're not fun and you're trying to do them because you think they're important, they're not important. The most important thing to do is to get things working. Once you've gotten something working, and you understand generally what's happening with the logic, then you can move on and learn a new skill. And only once you have the basic foundations laid and you understand what arrays are, you understand the basic methods involved, you understand objects and how to create modules and these kinds of things, for example, with JavaScript I'm talking about, then and only then would I start looking into deeper things about how it's all working behind the scenes or how to do things in one line. Those things are all bonuses, right? You don't really need them in a practical sense. I would say focusing on clean code is fine. So good naming conventions, keeping your code very readable, making sure things are clear to anyone who might be stepping into your code. That is probably a good skill to build. But even that, I would say, should come after you understand the basic concepts. My second tip is to always show an active interest in what you are doing. Now, this sounds like a bit of a strange thing, but think about it this way. No matter how you are learning, you are hopefully interacting with other people. Now, if you're learning at home and you're not interacting with other people, please go and find some Discord communities, go and check out Twitter. There are plenty of communities out there that you can get involved in that will help you create a community of people you can talk to about these subjects. It's very important because what it allows you to do is to show an active interest in your learning. You might not be passionate about coding. I am passionate about coding. I'm very lucky in that sense. You might not be. Maybe you're just looking for a job. You just want something that's going to make you some money. That's absolutely fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But that doesn't mean that you can't show an active interest in developing your skills, right? No one wants to work with someone who's just there staring at the computer, zoning everyone else out and not actually getting involved in the team, right? You don't have to be the most passionate or extroverted person like me. That's fine. Yeah, what you do have to be is involved. And showing people that you're involved and showing people that you're interested is really good. I often say if you don't have passion, yeah, at least have initiative, right? Show some drive, show some ambition. If your ambition is to make a lot of money, use that. Whatever it is, show that you have an interest in this and go one step further than you might necessarily have to when you're learning. Ask a lot of questions, right? Show an interest. You'd be surprised from the teacher's perspective how few students actually show an interest and actually get involved in their own learning. If you can do that, it makes a very good impression. It helps you learn more and it gets you more involved in your learning, which means that concepts are more likely to stick and you're more likely to actually retain information. And on top of that, it's just a great soft skill to have to show that you can actually be a part of a team and be involved with other people in the process of learning and of coding, because you will be working in a team. Almost certainly, if you are trying to look for a job, you want to work in a team. And so developing that skill of showing an interest and being active and talking to others about problems, these are things that transfer really well into the working world and put you in a really good stead. Now, I have a whole video about my third tip, but I'm going to throw it out here anyway. Create content. You might not be comfortable in front of a camera making YouTube videos. Fine. Go and write a blog. Awesome. You might even just want to drop some JavaScript tips or HTML or CSS tips on LinkedIn, right? There are plenty of things out there that can help you do this. There are plenty of tools you might use in your everyday life. You can promote these tools. Say, hey, whenever I need colors for my website, I check out Coolors. That's one thing you might just tweet about or write on LinkedIn. Even Facebook, it doesn't, but Facebook is private. That's the problem. The idea is, right, to create a foundation of content that shows you are involved in programming and that you know what you're doing. Now, I strongly believe this is a huge part of the reason that I was able to find such an amazing job after only a year of learning JavaScript, right? Because I got involved in the Twitter community specifically, I was interacting with a lot of contemporary debates about programming, about technology. By doing this, I was able to be involved in the community. I stayed up to date with what people were talking about. I discovered tools and tricks and tips that I didn't know before. And on top of that, I built a follower base. So when I later released my video to employers, it got a huge reception. I think at this point it's got 25,000 views, right? Because I already had this solid follower base that were happy to help me tweet it out and who were happy to help me retweet it. So that's one way. By building a follower base, you have people who are willing to help you. Secondly, you're getting involved in a community, which, as I mentioned before, is very important. And you're staying up to date with topics and information, which is very important. But then if you write a blog or create YouTube videos, that is also proof to your employer or potential employer, that you know what you're talking about, you're interested in it, and you have something to say. So I would strongly recommend either writing a blog or creating YouTube videos or something like that, creating a body of work that not only allows you to have something to refer back to, but is also something you can then use in your portfolio or to show to employers to say, hey, look, I know what I'm talking about. I'm not just some kid who knows HTML. I'm actually involved in the community. I actually want to do this for my job. I'm serious about this. And I don't just view it as, something I'm doing because I have to, because I have no other choice. This is actually something I want to do actively. So it kind of goes back to this idea of showing an active interest, right? So this all ties in together, but I really do think that if I had to boil this whole list down to just one thing, it would be this: to create content and to get involved in the community. Very important. Please do it and let me know in comments if you do. If you create a blog or create a YouTube channel, please post it in the comments. I will come and follow you. I will try to support you as best I can. So yes, do that. Now the fourth point is to lift up others. Now I mentioned before the idea about getting involved in a community. Now when you do that, I think it's very important you not just ask questions about your own code. You don't just promote things that you're writing or that you're creating, right? But you also try to help others. Now, if we're being honest, I think a lot of people, especially younger people, think to themselves, but I'm not really interested in what other people are doing. I don't really care what someone else thinks about closures. Why would I go and support those people? Why would I lift them up when I'm not getting anything out of this interaction? Where do I begin with this? Okay, so firstly we have the moral argument, right? And if you're someone who says this kind of stuff, you're probably not interested in the moral argument, but let's just go there for a second. It's nice to be nice, right? It feels good. You're helping other people, and when you help other people, it makes you feel good, right? It's a good thing to do. If for no other reason, just do it for that. Okay. So that's the moral argument. That's the argument I prefer. But if you're not interested in the moral argument, let's go for the purely selfish argument. If we're taking it from a purely selfish perspective, being good to other people makes people want to be good for you. People remember when you are kind to them. People remember when you thank them and when you show an interest in what they're doing, and they're more likely to therefore show an interest in what you are doing, right? People like to be noticed. And when people like being noticed and you notice them, they like you. And this can only be good for you, right? So even if we take away the entire moral argument, which in my opinion is the most important part, but even if we take all of that away, we still have a situation where being good to others and lifting them up puts you in good stead from a purely selfish perspective. On top of that, right, this is about teamwork. This is going back to what I was saying before about showing initiative and proving that you have the soft skills you need for a job. By lifting up other people, you are showing that you are ready to be part of a team. Because if you're part of a team, you have to help other people. If you don't, you are going to be stuck in that position for your whole life and you're never going to go anywhere. And if that's what you want, fine, okay? If you just want to work in your little rabbit hole and you don't really want to go anywhere or do anything special with it, fine. You know what? You do you and we'll just not interact with each other. That's fine. But if you actually want to go somewhere, if you want to become a senior, or you want to become a team lead, or you want to eventually run your own company, these are skills you need. You need to learn how to lift up others. You need to learn how to show an interest in other people, even when you might not necessarily really feel like doing it. It's something that it is a habit that is worth building, right? And like any habit, like any skill, it takes practice to build, and it takes practice to be good at helping other people. This is crucial. So even though I think that helping and lifting up others is just the right thing to do, and it makes the whole community a much less toxic place to be, and it makes the workplace a much less toxic place to be, you can also look at it from a purely utilitarian perspective and say this is also a good way to build up skills that will allow you to be a better manager and a better team player in future. So yes, practice those skills if for no other reason than that. Well, thank you so much for watching. Those are my top 4 tips for how to put yourself in good stead for the job search. I hope that you found this useful. Please do follow me on Twitter. Go check out my blog as well. I've done a blog article about how I found my first job in software development. So you can also find that. I'll link it down there so you can see it. And other than that, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know if this has been useful to you. Hopefully it has, and I will see you next time. Bye.